Science agency calling professional message design services from established companies to science visual, creating a simple logo to completely and delivering visual communication to print media. Everything under website design does has a single design agenda. Respect your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.solwestgraphicdesign.com. I found it best to express in a junior card and students at the time the one that ever might possess will take no more than call designed by me. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one of the kind people items that your recipients will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and pretty items. We also offer holiday cards. Just designed by me, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional hand-made greeting cards for all occasions. Specializers. We also make custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made to fit. For call design by me at 601-451-9526 or visit our website www.designbybeesonline.com. Come check out the new Super Braid 2 hair braiding and natural hair care salon located at 18070 Mount Elliott. Our new salon is parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new our salon is with. Come meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care salon. And check out our many hair care services, such as hair treatment, box braids, cornrows, tree braids, cabana twists.
Hit the switch for the fans, brother.
Block extensions, pinky twists, guidance blocks, updos, spool weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.usersbraids.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional care. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city. We're actually doing it. You make online donations and click on the link to track the progress of Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is the local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding. You're watching W33B Live, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan. FM 88.1 WHBR, Highland Park, WBIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of W33B Live, its affiliates, management, or sponsors. Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading scriptures and not reading them?
The recording has started. This conference is being recorded.
Have never tested with you. No, someone may have different. So let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another. Discussion is another affair. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12:3. FM 88.1 WHBR and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's the Holy Bible, have one, double one, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and the truth. So Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12:2 right here on P33. FM 88.1 WHBR and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at every 868-4366, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 3. That's 313-868-4366, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live. Scriptural Discussion.
In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful, the truthful, and the most just. I greet all of you who hunger and thirst for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. Where's Rihanna? Oh, so they riding together with them. Okay. So I want to first give those who have heard me say something that they take umbrage with or have disagreement with, were offended by. I welcome you to come in and have that discussion with me, a civil discussion. You know, it's a pre-drawn conclusion based on historical evidence that one who is not able to make war is not in a position to sue for peace. Most of it's just like when even in elementary school or whatnot, a bully and the person that he is bullying, the person that is being bullied, that cannot actually, or that has proven unwilling to stand up to a bully, no matter what they say to that bully, the bully is not going to stop. The only way to put a stop to it is that like I remember my brother Sonny, that's where I got this from. Sonny, he seemed like he just liked to fight. I mean, he just, would fight at the drop of a hat. Me, I had to really be prodded to fight. But Sonny, I mean, somebody said something to him, he would just say, well, nigga, you ain't saying nothing but let's dance. And so, that was him, and he didn't have no good end either. I'm just saying, life catch up with you. But one of his favorite sayings was, you can't come after my behind and leave yours at home. And so I borrowed some of them sayings of his, because as I grew, I learned that the reason bullies pick on people is because people refuse to stand up for themselves. I mean, I grew up getting whippings. My daddy used to put something on me, at the drop. Now, you talk about somebody who would beat your behind at the drop of a hat. If I did something or acted like I didn't like something that he said to me, or showed some kind of rebelliousness to him, he said, "Hey, come here, boy. Get in there." And he put something on me. So I was used to whippings. So, it toughened me up a little. Enough for me to, even if I was afraid, I would still fight. Because you ain't my daddy. I mean, he'd be whipping me and I'd be mad, but I couldn't fight back. Do you understand? But, somebody else, you'd be surprised. Sometimes one lick in the right, one good blow in the right place can turn the tables in a fight. Huh? So you should always fight back if somebody trying to attack you. Once you've been attacked, what you was afraid of is over. Because what you was afraid of was they was going to jump on you or something. Well, they done jumped on you. So ain't no sense in being scared now. It's just a matter of fighting back. So the scripture tells me, don't be afraid of their words nor their looks. Allah knew what I was going to get for standing up saying and talking like I talk. And when I first started teaching, I look out at people. You remember when a fella threatened to come snatch me off the stage? These brothers know. Where was I? I was in my 30s. I looked pretty young when I was in my 30s. But I was up there at Grambling. And fellas told me he's going to snatch me off the stage. And so I invited him to come on snatch me off. I think Spencer and them was there in that meeting there. But anyway, we did nothing happen. But the fact of the matter is, brother, if it's one thing to be nonviolent, but it's a whole different ball game to be a coward. Nonviolence don't mean you won't fight. Nonviolence means I'm gonna keep my hand to myself, but don't you put your hands on me. That's all. That's what it means. You ain't gonna start no fight. But just because you don't start one don't mean that you ain't gonna have to finish one. If you want to stop bullies from bullying you, you got to fight back. He got to know that you got to bring it to get it. Then, I noticed all the brothers, and I knew some tough brothers. But the toughest brother respected a man, even if he thought he could whip him. He respected the man that he knew he was going to have to whip him. It wasn't going to be no cakewalk. So this is what we try our best to be peaceful with everybody. If you can walk away from trouble, walk away. Ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. If a man don't let you walk away, then God is on your side. Always remember that. Allah hates aggression. Be not aggressive. Even a lion in the jungle, if he ain't hungry, he not going to aggress on you. And it ain't because he's scared of you. The very nature that Allah put in the creation is non-aggression. But if you attack one of them, if you invade their space, even the laws of America, they got laws that you come within 3 feet or something like that of a person, that's considered aggression on them. Nobody wants you. You invading their space, man. Nations have 200-mile limits and stuff. If you on the ocean there, you stay 200 miles. Don't you come no closer than that. Otherwise, we're going to consider you an aggressor. You know, no, it's only so close you need to get to a person in order to speak with them. If you got to get any closer, you need to get their permission. So I'm trying to show you that most of the laws are actually common laws, or common sense laws, that most people that are adults and have a possession of all of their faculties recognize that that's right. That's just the right way. Now, but what we never really realized, that the same God who gave a lion a non-aggression nature, and a tiger, and all of those creatures. Now, a dog is somewhat non-aggressive, but he's territorial. Most creatures out there, they are territorial. You know, so you have to know something about those creatures if you want to do what the white man been doing, which is write books on them and all that kind of stuff. He didn't just, he ain't out there just filming lions and invading their territory. He know where he need to go. You can get out there trying to do like him if you want to. You better know what he know. Don't the lion gonna be picking his teeth at your expense, if he could pick his teeth. But anyway, you know, we are, if you know that God did that with animals, what make you think that man, being above the animals, Allah was not going to incorporate into man's intellect intelligence enough to form laws for a more peaceful interaction with his fellow man? But that's why in the scriptures it says it like this, you know, as you would that men do to you, do ye likewise also unto them. Huh? Yeah. That wraps up righteousness right there. Don't take no whole long drawn out thing. Now you got a man that wants the American people to adopt the phrase Heil Trump. That's you know, he admires Hitler. How do you know that? Because he adopted Mein Kampf. One of the main things in Mein Kampf was lie to the public and tell the big lie and just keep repeating it. That's in that you can find it online, Mein Kampf. is on there. My struggle, Hitler's struggle. The devil's struggle is ever wicked, ever weak. The Holy Quran says it like that. The devil's struggle is ever weak. Oh, you thought I didn't know nothing about all of that? I told you I know a lot more than you think I do. You're the one that don't know. You racist, bigoted dogs. Don't say, well, he call it name now. Ain't you the one that used the term he's dog whistling? Well, who are the dogs that he's whistling to? I'm the last man you want to get into a argument with as transparent as you are. I use your own words and whoop you to death with them. And you still haven't figured out that I'm the Lord. Because you done played with that word for so long. Lord help us. Lord Toronto. Lord this. Lord that. Lord and Lord and Lord. Every time you look up, somebody hollering Lord, something, Lord this, until the title Lord don't mean nothing to you. And now that the true Lord is here, you treat me like Santa Claus or something. Everybody know ain't no Santa Claus. Did you hear what that Negro said? That Negro said he's Lord. You know he really believed that? You remember Royal? He was out there saying it's a man in Mississippi. They call himself the Son of Man, and he really believes he's the Son of Man. Why would he put it like that? Because in reality, he don't believe there's no such person. You see? So, when you don't know the word of God, you can't know me. That's why it's written, no man knows who the Son is but the Father. And so, so I'm giving everybody a chance to get it off their chest. You know how people have something on their brain. We call it your chest. Why? Because the brain is a storehouse of knowledge, like a chest that's most people put valuables, and pirates and stuff put treasure in their what? So you lay up treasures in heaven. And then what is the brain? If the kingdom of heaven, the truth is a treasure, then where's the treasure chest? So I'm here to let you get off your chest what you think that condemns me. Come on now, you do all that big talk behind my back. Now you here in my face, and I'm giving you the airway, giving you airwaves here to tell everybody why you don't believe in me and why they should not believe in me. Now, do you know of any other person who claimed to be a leader of people that affords people, looks for people who disagree with them and invite them to come in and tell them and the listening audience what's wrong with them? Now, I was looking at the news, and, we have seen this, like I told you, I've seen traitors before, up close and personal. I've seen people get either sent in or brought in. It's just like when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here. It it wasn't so much that many of the ministers wanted to tell us things, but they knew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had told them things that he expected to hear taught. So they had to teach it, otherwise it would have gave them away that they wasn't really with him. So many, I'm not saying that the ones that every one of them was a hypocrite, but the messenger said this, and Minister Abdul Kareem, he told us, he said, the messenger said, I mean, the nation is honeycombed. You ever looked at a honeycomb? It's a perfect geometric building that bees make that there are no gaps in. I think it has 6 sides, don't it? That honeycomb structure. And they fit together just perfectly. And it's strong while one is up being upheld on every side, it's being upheld. Do you understand? Okay. But it don't leave no cracks in it. So the messenger said, the nation is honeycombed with hypocrites. People who say out of their mouths things that they don't believe. But that's what he wanted, he said. Now, I don't mean he wanted hypocrites, but he said if he have 40 million helpers, they are just helping him. He said, but of himself, he said, but I am the only one that Allah will hold responsible for you not getting the truth. He was talking to me. So he used all of them to get the truth to me. So don't you think it's strange if I'm not telling you the truth that people like Minister Farrakhan, you know, his followers done took him some of my tapes and stuff, you know, and I just single him out because everybody's familiar with him. All y'all familiar with him. Don't you think it's strange that people who was in the nation with me never come in here to argue with me about what I say? Huh? They not following me. Most of them, they didn't follow me. They talk about me to each other, but they don't say nothing to me. And in elementary school, you knew what that was about. You know, all of them walking around talking about that fellow who sometime he could, you know, he could fight a little bit and was pretty tough. And, you know, he be done whooped up on somebody. I'm not saying he the bully, but he wasn't nobody that you could run over. Everybody say, oh, he think he tough, man, but I bet you I could get. Well, yeah. They wouldn't say nothing. They learned that about Muhammad Ali. They used to talk, you know, be talking about it, and somebody gonna shut his big mouth, and every time somebody got in there with him, he whooped that rump. Huh? You notice Geno Jennings was walking around here calling out Farrakhan and Farrakhan's followers. Huh? Have you ever heard him call me out? You You see? Oh, he ain't gonna call me out. Because he threw in the towel. He did the Sonny Liston on me. When Muhammad Ali fought Sonny Liston the second time, dude, Liston threw in the towel. His manager threw in the towel. You ain't heard no more from Sonny. So, I mean, why are you surprised? You done seen the greatest basketball player. You done seen the greatest baseball players. You done seen the greatest football players. You done seen the greatest in the sports world. You done seen the greatest in the political world. You done seen the greatest in everything. Why are you surprised that the greatest Lord is here? What? I must be the greatest. Ain't nobody that's religious or trying to argue with me. Now what? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he didn't teach us to just say Allahu Akbar. For that just simply means God is great. The God is great. He taught us Allah is the greatest. He even said the Son of Man searched the universe for that mystery God and came to the conclusion that there is no mystery God. That's in the book. Is there a God besides me? I know not any. Let me hear somebody who say they are equal or greater than me in knowledge and understanding. Come on in here. Let me hear what you have so I can sit down. It's much easier following than it is leading. See, you want to lead. I don't. I ain't never wanted to be the leader. I was definitely content following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I came to perfect peace following him. Why you think it's written? It said, if I go not away, the Comforter will not come. If the one who's supposed to guide you won't come, why won't he come? Because he don't want to lead nobody. Jonah didn't want to lead nobody. But if that's what Allah wants me to do, my life and my death is all for Allah. Now, all you know-alls out there, this is your opportunity to show the world what you know and show me so I can get behind you. I know how to follow. When you follow, you just do what you're told. That ain't hard except for somebody who's proud. I mean, what is prayer? It's a petition to God. Once I make my petition to Allah, then I just be patient and wait on him to do whatever he want to do about my petition. You seek Allah's assistance through patience and prayer. If I'm the follower of the messenger, and when I was his follower, I was patient to wait on him to tell me what to do. If I If I told the minister, one of his helpers, that I was having problems with this or problem with that, once I told him, I knew that he knew, then I just go on and do my job. I know how to follow. When you're a follower, you ain't in no position to make no demands on the leader. Because you trust that the one you following has greater understanding than you. I don't, I know how to follow. How you think I know when somebody ain't following me or is following me? I've been a follower, so I know what a follower looks like. Well, you see, I mean, I told you one day you were going, that soon you're going to learn to be scared of me. No, I'm not talking about my flesh. Ain't nobody scared of me. How big am I? I ain't big as nothing. I wasn't talking about being afraid of my flesh. But you notice people very skeptical and leery about coming in here having an argument with me. Because the closer you get, the more you study me, the more you compare me to that sun out there. The sun looks small, 93 million miles away from us. But do you know the earth being 7,926 miles in diameter? You could put 100 earths next to each other and you still would not be able to see them on the other side of the sun. The sun is 853,000 miles straight through it. Diameter. Now, he didn't have to tell us what the circumference of the sun was. When he gave us the diameter, then you multiply that time 3.1416 and you get the circumference. And let me tell you something. When you look at a picture of the earth from out there, thanks to white people, and what Allah gave them, they showed you pictures of what the earth looks like as an object. You had to get outside of the atmosphere of the earth and get away from the earth to see it as an object. That's called an objective view. And we get that. It's just like, I'm not caught up in politics. That's why I have an objective view of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it from the outside. That's why I can tell you, based on history, that I've seen this before. You see? I've seen Donald Trump by another name before. You see? I saw that as I went back and looked at the history of the Nation of Islam and started remembering how some people would come into the nation and they'd be new. And all of a sudden, they'd be a lieutenant or a captain, even a minister. And we didn't hardly pay it that much attention. Because at that time, I was a child in my understanding. I didn't know what I was looking at, but I did think it was kind of strange that people come in and You know, even when they gave the greetings, it just wasn't, it did not sound sincere. Something like them. You know, I mean, that's the way they get. Something like them. Brother, go and such and so and such and so and so. You know. But I didn't hardly pay it no attention because a lot of people was doing it like that. The one thing that kind of endeared Minister Abdul Karim to me was that when he would give the greetings, it was always Salam alaikum, brother. You know, it was always a more sincereness in his voice. And he always had a pleasant way about himself. And sometimes you need that when you're around a bunch of sycophants. You know, when you dealing with people who Allah sent a man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sent him out there at the right time, because maybe if he hadn't been there, I might have got turned off. Of course, Brother Donald, he was like that too. Brother Donald was, you know, even in his when times when I knew he was offended about something that I had said or did, Brother Donald was always Brother Donald. You know, he just kind of smiles sometimes, you know, and I could tell he was offended, but you know, he always remained brotherly. It's like brother Andrew, Brother Belair. I don't care how things was. You know, sometimes I'd come to the temple and be you know, upset about something, and he'd look at me and say, "Oh, it ain't that bad," and he'd start laughing, and I'd start laughing. And he was always, you know, Allah put people around me that I know now that he made sure kept me where I needed to be in my mind. You know, sometimes you can lose sight, you can lose track of what you should be doing if you got the wrong role models around you and you pay too much attention to them. They can corrupt you. You have to remember what you say you stand for. And then you must always remind yourself that we don't so much as follow people. We follow ideals and ideas that we believe in and stand for. Do you understand? Con men are able to con you because they find out what makes you like them as a person. And most people naturally like people that heap praise on them. That's because most people, unless you have been blessed enough to get out of the norm, most people never grow past a high school mentality. And they mistake education for manhood. They were, you know, because we were given a false sense of self-worth by equating our worth to our diploma, to our degree. And so, you know, we gained a false sense of self-worth. And by equating our worth to that, we equated those people's worth who may not have had that. We equated ourselves to be better than them, and their worth, they were worth far less than us. And then that was reinforced by saying, well, you know, I applied for a job, but this fellow who had a degree, he got it because he is better than me. That kind of thing, you know. And that was done purposely to make you be grown bodies with a child's mind. That's why you look up to stars. You look up to, you know what a star is? A star is a light that shines in darkness. And the more ignorant your mind, the more you look up to people who could give less than a damn about you. And you fall all over yourself simply because a person has a lot of wealth and you think you're going to get some of it. And so instead of you respecting everybody, you show them more respect than you would other people. Because their stardom makes you wish that you could get where they are. And if you could reach those stars, you would come to the realization that they just as messed up in the head as you are. You see, I'm not saying that to belittle their stardom. I'm saying that to wake you up to the fact that if stardom was that great, why are they still not happy? Why do you hear about them committing suicide? Why is so many things bad happening in a world that's so filled with stars? And when you try to do me like you do them stars, you can't. You know, it just don't work like that. You go staring up at the sun and you hurt your eyes. You notice when you come in here and try to show yourself judging me, you get your feelings hurt. Until you have people saying, look, when somebody invite them, won't you go talk to some man? You can't talk to him because I ain't gonna let him talk to me like that. Well, you know, I mean, you ain't letting me do nothing. When you come in here with me, even if I give you control of the room, you ain't letting me do nothing. Did you hear what I just said? I give you control of it. I know my weight. I just look small. But the mind of all of the messengers of God is right here in my brain. You know what happens when you condense? What if you could could exert enough pressure on the earth to condense it to the size of a softball. That's not going to change the weight of it. It's still going to weigh 6 sectillion tons. Looks can be deceiving. There's a whole lot of people who found that out. Why you think it said whoever I fall on it, they shall be ground to powder? You go trying to fence with me. You can't fence with me. I got way more counselors than you. One of the reasons I'm compared to the sun is because the prominent figures of the Bible and the Holy Quran, those prominent figures that you claim you worship so much, I was told to eat them all up and make them part of me. Paul said it. He said, when I'm absent from the body, I'll be present with the Lord. And I'm steady adding more. So, you know, I mean, it's not, you know, you're not playing with no lightweight here. Literally. So, and why do I talk to you like this? I talk to you like this because I know that the ruler that you've been so scared of, the white man, he's listening. And you see, he's not opening his mouth to accuse me of being self-important or delusional or none of that stuff that he said about this foolish man that's in the White House. You notice when I'm talking and someone says, wait a minute. They don't have to say, wait a minute, but once. Because I know I'm not lying. But when you talking to someone who's making it up as he go, you may have to say, wait a minute. And he just keep talking because he's making up a lie. He want to get his lie out, knowing that you ain't going to be able to catch it all. How many lies are you gonna miss while you getting on him about what? He let them other ones out. What did legion mean? Many. But a liar can't come in here with me and stand. He gets upset. He said, "You keep cutting me off." I said, No, you keep saying things that's not so, and I want you to explain this thing you just said here before you move on to add some more to it. And so they learned quick. No, I ain't coming in there. What? A liar shall not tarry in his sight. Yeah. So when I saw people coming out of nowhere and all of a sudden being part of the governing body of the Nation of Islam, it finally made sense when WD came in and all of them acted like they was there celebrating at a time when we should have been grieving. I mean, here the messenger of God had just passed. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had passed. And you had them standing up there talking about if any other family. I heard what was his name? One of the messenger's son, I think it was Nathaniel. If any other family had lost such a precious jewel, they would be in grief. He said, but we are in celebration. Look, I don't believe in faking. How in the world you just lost a messenger of God and you talking about you celebrating? I remember when Malcolm got killed, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he stood up and he said, when he was in the circle with me, with us, he was a good man in it. He said, but he didn't stay in it. Because if he had stayed in that circle, we could have stood by his grave, shedding tears of grief at the loss of one who was in our circle of communication and we had sweet communication with, in so many words. Did that sound like that you're not supposed to have honest grief and tears over the loss of a friend? But they was talking like it was nothing. All of that was in my mind. What are these people doing? What is it I'm missing? Because I am in grief and I do feel the loss of him. And they stand up there acting like we ain't supposed to feel nothing. Even the messenger I had never heard the theology of time, but when I heard the theology of time and he said what you read of Jesus was actually talking about himself. Well, when Jesus said that he was going away, he said, if I go not away, the comforter will not come. Then why wasn't anyone trying to comfort those who were grieving over the messenger's death, over him passing? It's because the sun had set and it was now dark. As he said, you're at the setting of the sun. That's what Savior's Day 74 was. The sun was setting. He said, it's set. That school that he used to use this term. He said, I know you. He said, don't blame me for my lack of education. He said, when I got to the schoolhouse, the teacher was dismissing class. When I came into the Nation of Islam, the messenger had been there 40 years and he was dismissing class. The door was about to be shut. He said that Islam is my nature, which means he wasn't allowed to teach me. He was allowed to raise my consciousness and to wake me up. And then he said, now, if you want to talk to Allah, you read the scripture. Read the Quran. But he knew that my nature, if Islam is truly the black man's nature, then I didn't need nobody to teach me the scripture. All I had to do is read it. And the very nature of the brain that's in me would guide me. That's what makes me the Mahdi, one who is self-guided and rightly guided and capable of guiding others. You see? You don't hear anyone from this scholarly world call themselves arguing with me. So I saw, as you notice, when you're in court and they give it over to the 12, the white man knows. Ask him, where did he get the idea of 12 jurors? He knows that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was telling us the truth, that the black man, we didn't have just one God. We had 12 who would always take a student, and that would make 24 of them. 12 major, 12 teachers, and 12 minor, 12 students. And they would pass the knowledge of rulership on to those 12. And that knowledge was always kept among the 12. And so they got that idea of 12 inches in a ruler, you see. And then we placed a ruler in the earth. And white people have constructed their government to remind them of the 12 who adjudicate and either find people guilty or innocent. Do you understand? And it's done by human beings. You see, your 12 jurors came from the history of the black man and how we were ruled and governed. And they would take turns exercising their wisdom. The messenger said we used to let them do it every 25,000 years. A new one would put his wisdom and see what he could come up with, because we was looking for a perfect way, but we never found a perfect way until one of them realized that we had the ability to perfect ourselves, but it was deep within our genes. And so he said, I could create one, I could make one, I can make a people that nothing could defeat. And then from that, we can produce one, and we will no longer be ruled by 12. That's why in the book of Revelation, it says that the 24 elders, they threw their crowns down and said, worthy is the Lamb to receive power and honor and riches and dominion forever. Yes, and forever. And that is, that's who I am. See, most of the time you give someone a little power, you watch how people act when you give them some power over other people. That's what makes a tyrant. That's what Donald Trump and the people like the Constitution of the United States and the way that the government of America was set up into three parts. The executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And they got them set up that way purposely to avoid tyranny, that each one of them was equal. The collective Congress could overrule something that the president, the executive, may want to do. If the Congress, if he gets too carried away, the Congress can say, hey, wait a minute, wait, no, you can't do that. And override him with the 3/4 vote. And if they get to the point where they can't, where they start, since all of them take an oath to uphold the Constitution, then whenever something happens that even the Congress and the president may be in agreement on, the Supreme Court can say, both of y'all wrong. That you can't do that. The Supreme Court has the a power to tell them that, look, you gonna uphold this law, right? You're not gonna do that no more. That's not gonna happen. And the Congress has to either change the law, and if they try to change the law and it contradicts the Constitution, the Supreme Court can tell them, no, you're not going to enact that law. The Constitution forbids it. You see, so I respect the way that they had this set up, because power tends to corrupt the corruptible mind. And absolute power would corrupt the corruptible mind absolutely. And that is the correct phrasing of that. Because if you just say power corrupts, then that is to suggest that there is no God, that God is corrupt. Because God not only has power, but God has absolute power. And yet, God is not corrupt. You see? So power corrupts the corruptible mind. And absolute power given to that person with a corruptible mind will corrupt them absolutely. You see? So the more you notice, the more you listen to me, the more enlightened of a human being you become. And everyone knows that if you want to con people, you don't enlighten them, you make them dumber. So now I was told they consolidating the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. Well, if you want to make slaves out of people, that's the first thing you want to do, is to combine the Department of Labor with the Department of Education. That way you make sure that you control what goes into the minds of people and keep their mind on a certain level. Then you got a slave labor force that you can I mean, they just as transparent as glass. They really think they finna put this stuff over. You remember the scripture says, remember the Sabbath day. To do what? And whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day shall lose their mind. They shall surely be put to death. You got to be out of your mind to do stuff out in the open, thinking that nobody see you and the light is shining on you. Your mind ain't right. Is that right? Okay. Now, let me show you some things. I need to teach on these things. Because I want to make sure that you know what you looking at. See, because you're going to be held responsible. Now, first, I think I need to let you see some of these who are intelligent enough to start distancing themselves, because from what is happening with this would-be Hitler and the, you notice, the Nazi party and all of these people, they some of them even gave him that salute, so it's not no secret that that's what he wants to be. You can always tell something about the character of people. One of the quickest ways to learn about the character of a man is to check out who he admires. Huh? The reason he admires dictators is because he wants to be a dictator, and he's trying to change the government of America into a dictatorship. Do you understand? You see? And there's a lot of people want that. You remember the people that followed Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler started off as a political party, but he took that party over, and it became Hitler's party, the Nazi party, right? And they call the Republicans now the Trump party, because they're what? They are no longer interested in a democratic republic. They are lockstep in whatever Trump wants to do. Do you understand? That's not the way America was designed. That's not the way the government of America was designed to work. The government of America was never a government that was that orbited or functioned around an individual. The government of America was set up to function around laws. And they keep dancing around talking about they don't know what to do about what Trump and his gang are doing down there on the southern border. They know exactly what to do about it. I'll read it to you. I'm going to read the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and then the 14th Amendment. It says, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, in the 14th Amendment, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Now get this part. Nor shall any state deprive any person, not citizen, any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. In other words, all of these people that they took jurisdiction over, when they took jurisdiction over those people who are trying to immigrate to America, or that's coming into America, when they took jurisdiction over them, then the laws of America, the laws of the Constitution protects them from having their babies taken from them without there being some compelling state interest to do so. All of this stuff they're doing to them, the Constitution already addressed. You notice you don't hear none of them talking about the Constitution. Any lawyer that's listening to me, come in here and show me how what I just read is and I'm interpreting it wrong. I know the difference in no person and no citizen. If the laws of America do not apply to those people, then they are saying they have no jurisdiction over them. And if they have no jurisdiction over them, that means that they cannot arrest them. They cannot. The best they can do is just tell them you can't come here. But the immigration policies, the immigration laws forbid them to do that. Now understand something. When this is all said and done, it's just like Hitler and his people. The last thing that those soldiers who were calling themselves soldiers at the time, but the minute they started murdering women and children and marching men into gas chambers to, do you suppose that the whole German people knew what Hitler was doing with those people? Just like the American people don't know what's happening to them girls. The American people, since when is the United States of America and the government of America, the press don't have a right to know what the government is doing inside America to citizens and its people? Since when does the government say that the press can't see what we're doing with children? When did that start? The whole world looking at you. You put Nazi Germany and those people who took part in the Holocaust, murdering. Holocaust is just another word for the murder and inhuman treatment of human beings. Oh, it's a lot of things that I want to make you understand. These are not things that the scripture has not covered. The Holy Scripture covered these things. Turn to the book of Romans. First chapter. Now, I want you to understand something. That Hitler seduced Germany with hatred. When things wasn't going so well in Germany, Hitler found some people to scapegoat and blame it all on. And he had to, while he was scapegoating some, he was making others superior. Does that sound familiar? But you know what strong emotions do? Strong emotions cloud the thinking capacity. I remember when I was looking at Dune. In Dune, they at one part of it, the leading character, he was asleep or almost going to sleep, and someone was sent to kill him, and it shot they shot a dart that was had a motion sensor on it, and anything that would move, it would go to and kill. And so he was saying to himself, as he was taught, he said, I must not fear, for fear is the mind killer. You heard the term paralyzed with fear? Paralyzed by fear, simply meaning when you are filled with fear, you can't think of what to do and you can do nothing because your fear has paralyzed you. You see? And so when you can, fear is an emotion too, you know. Hatred. You know how you say I got fighting mad? Hatred is an emotion that produces violence. Huh? Okay. So all of the troubles of Germany was blamed on the Jews by Adolf Hitler. Well, isn't that nice to be able to say that your problems you didn't have nothing to do with, it was somebody else's fault? Well, that's the way a child thinks. And so everybody was happy to buy into that. Otherwise, they'd have to face the fact that the reason they're in bad shape is because of what they've been doing or what they've been failing to do. So rather than admit your own failure, blame so-and-so, blame the Jews, blame everybody, right? And then if they to blame, then we need to punish them. Isn't that right? And so they, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler. Why? Why? Because he took the blame off of us. They didn't realize he was finna put the blame on them and stigmatize them as a nation of unjust, inhumane people. Like Trump is trying to do to America. Let me let you hear something that Donald Trump said. And then you think about what kind of mind you have to say something like this.
My people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, they say.
He said, they say it. Well, nobody's saying that but him. What kind of mind does he have to come up with an analogy like that? That he could stand up and shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and then they would still support him. He could take babies from their mothers and they would still what? Well, he's finding out now that the American people ain't as dumb as he think they are. Now, I know you still got some governors who just trying to make a showing. But you better do more than make a showing, man. Because every one of you going to answer for what you did or what you failed to do.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Original X asked, why did Trump release the children?
When you look at, first of all, you don't know if he done released them or not. They have not did what they should have been doing. That order never should have been given to take them children from their parents in the first place, because that was a violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. But knowing that you all are like children, and that question you just asked me is prove it. He knows that your minds, you just see the moment. That's why would any crook give the money back to the bank teller if the police standing there? The thing you should have been asking is why did he get away with doing that in the first place? Why did he get away with violating the Constitution of the United States, as which he had sworn an oath to uphold? Why did him, and why was he able to order those same people who took the same oath to the Constitution? You didn't take no oath to Donald Trump. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. You can't work in the government of America without taking the oath to uphold America's Constitution. What happens when you take any part of a house and take it away from the foundation? You tear that house down. The Constitution is the foundation of the government of America. When they violated it, they violated the oath of office, which is enough evidence to remove them from office. You can do what you please as an American citizen. You can think what you please. You can do what you please as long as you do it to yourself. When you decide you're going to do something to others, you better check and see what the laws on that is. Is that right? But when you become a member of the government of America, you no longer can do what you please. You do what the Constitution allows and what the Constitution says must be done by all of the citizens over whom that government has jurisdiction. You know, I told you that the people in Congress They, they told on themselves, really. In the election, when they had that foolish woman, Sarah Palin, and all of them out there, Putin is playing chess and Obama playing checkers. If you think President Obama wasn't aware of what Putin was doing, you a fool. He just didn't, him and his administration, they didn't know how to go after all of these crooks without appearing to be political. So they had to let you find out what was really going on by letting it take its course and trusting that the Justice Department was full of patriots, that the CIA is full of patriots, and that the American people may be asleep, but they ain't dead. And sooner or later, the American people will wake up. And the American people, as the Constitution, before it starts with any of amendments or whatever, it starts off with the words, "We, the people of the United States." That's what it starts off with. In order to form ourselves into a more perfect, united people, establish this Constitution. They trying to uproot the Constitution now. Because that's the only way you're going to overthrow America, is you got to uproot the Constitution. Well, that's just the way it is. You cannot overthrow America unless you uproot the Constitution. When Germany woke up to Hitler, it was a sobering experience to know that they let a madman seduce them into insane actions. Now, you got the lesson of Germany. You gonna let this madman seduce you into insanity? So, I mean, listen to him.
Well, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I would.
Notice what he says. My people. I thought the American people was his people. Are you part of his people? Who was he talking about? You know, you have to go back. You know, that's the one thing about America. When all the evidence is in, the jury is not told, okay, what y'all think? The jury is told, okay, you've heard it all. Now go on back there and deliberate. You know, that means go back there and talk it over. Go back over that stuff that was said without any outside influences. Discuss it among yourselves. And then tell us what you think. What did he mean my people. You notice, when has he ever stood up and said, my fellow Americans? He don't talk like that. He's always talking to his people. And the news media, you all are guilty of letting him get away with that foolishness. He's so proud of his people. Tell the people who, you know, you say, well, he's talking to his base. Well, who is his base? He's talking to everybody who hates America. That's who he's talking to. He's talking to everyone who has no respect for the Constitution. Because it's impossible for you to respect the Constitution and support Donald Trump. Now, I just said something that if that's not true, you should come in here and hold my feet to the fire and demand that $20,000 I asked you that I told you I would give if you could show that I'm teaching something that's not true. You cannot tell me that you believe in the Constitution and you support Donald Trump. I can prove that you are a liar. See? Nobody saying nothing, right? What the brother name that asked me that question? Brother Reginald. I want you, Brother Reginald, and all of the brothers and sisters that's, look, man, we got to elevate our consciousness. We have to start thinking not just at what we see happening. We have to be able to hold that image and also what led up to that image. Find out the history that led up to that, and then you will know where the blame lies. Why should you tell me something? If a man robbed you, if a man walk up to you, take your car at gunpoint, and then people see him and get on him about it, and you go back, and he come back and say, hey, man, here's your key back. Do you owe him any thanks? Why should you thank him for giving back what he never should have taken, what he never had a right to take? If Donald Trump wants my forgiveness, and every human being on this earth should want my forgiveness, it's written, the Son of Man is the one that has power on earth to forgive sins. And the book says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. If he wants my forgiveness, the first thing he has to do is confess his sins and be sorry for them. Generally, when a person is sincere in an apology to you, they will recite to you the things that they wronged you in. And then they will say, please, please forgive me. You needn't think that signing an executive order to undo another order that you gave because it became unpopular You needn't think that's repentance. That's not repentance. He's a wicked man. And everybody who supports him is wicked people. I said everybody who supports him is a wicked person. There's another $20,000 you can get if you come in here and show that what I just said ain't true. I'll let you talk. The only thing I'll require is that when you make a statement, if I want to question the statement and demand some proof or evidence, you stop and you let me question you and get the evidence. And if your evidence bears witness that I was wrong, I will cut you the check for $20,000 and beg your pardon.
Brother Reginald says, "You're right. I know the history, but not as well as you know the history, since I was born in February the 4th, 1963.
That's all right, Brother Reginald. You know a little of it. You was born at the time when we was being black and proud. I was born during the time where we was Negro and proud. But I know one thing. This stuff that the thing that worked on Germany, it ain't gonna work on America. You know why? Because, you know, I call this member of my body finger. As a matter of fact, it's the forefinger. Isn't it? Okay, that's the thumb. Now, they on the same hand, and I call them by different names. That's just for identity's sake, just like the scriptures didn't come with verses in them. The scriptures didn't come with no numbers. God didn't reveal the scriptures by the numbers. We put numbers in there so we can go and find passages when we need to find them. The prophets were just speaking. They didn't say, and this is verse 1, such and so and such and so and so, and this verse 2, such and so. No, we put verses in there. We put the numbers next to the verses. Do you understand? That's one of the reasons why you read it and you don't really understand what you're reading, because, you know, it's just like, I'll show you an example in the Holy Quran. The opening chapter says, "In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Verse 1. The Beneficent, the Merciful. Verse 2. The Master of the Day of Requital. Verse 3. And let me make sure I'm not misquoting them here, because I don't read them like that. But that's the way that they come. It says, chapter 1, it says, "Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." That's verse 1. Verse 2, "The Beneficent, the Merciful." Verse 3, "Master of the Day of Requital." And you will notice that's the way people recite them. But you notice I don't recite it like that. You see, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I would put verse 1 right there. And the second verse would be, "Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." That's verse 2. "The Beneficent, the most merciful Master of the Day of Requital." That's the third verse. You see? And that's the way I recite it. You know, but you know, this is the thing that people in this world, they think they have been educated. But when it comes to when it comes to character, and the things that make the human being complete, they are savages. They have not been educated. That's why when you go on Twitter, it sounds like a bunch of hateful birds. And that's what the scripture says. Babylon is fallen and it's become the habitation of devils and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. You see? Look at how you had people down there call themselves officers of the law. It's the Nazi party and their soldiers, Nazis. They call themselves soldiers while murdering civilians. These people call themselves officers of the law while stripping parents of their rights, of their God-given rights over their own children. And you know the sad part? Donald Trump has children, and his children have children. If Melania Trump went to a country and they stopped her at the border and took her child and Donald Trump's grandchild, he'd be ready to push one of them nuclear buttons on them. Wouldn't he? Yes. Knowing him, ain't that right? Yes. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, he calls they even told on him about calling when I guess if he go to California and see that LA is filled with Spanish Americans, he would call that an infestation. That's the way you talk of vermin. That's the way you talk of rats and roaches and stuff. That's not the way you talk about people. An infestation? But you let him get away with it. You encouraged that. Just like when you was encouraging him to go around this country speaking disrespectful and making a joke out of the first black president and saying that he's not a true American. He's not an American citizen. By the Constitution, he is. And I'm going to tell you something else. You knew that. Did Donald Trump ever say that Barack Obama's mother was not an American citizen? Did he ever accuse that white mother of President Obama of not being an American citizen? Well, then it didn't make no difference where her baby was born. Her baby was an American. Is that the only thing that make you an American? Is if your wife had a baby, you an American citizen, and your wife go have a baby in Africa or go have a baby in Australia? Do that mean that baby got to go through some kind of customs or whatnot? Because that's not a citizen. The baby is a citizen by birth because his mother was a citizen. Doesn't make no difference where the baby was born. But you see, racism stokes the fire of hatred, and bigotry slams the door on truth. Whenever you go to tell a racist bigot the truth, they drown you out with cursing and swearing and hollering and going on. Why? Why do they drown you out? Because the truth does away with their lie. You see, so I want all of you. The reason that a man like Donald Trump, Adolf Hitler, you would never convert the American people to that. Unless you can get them to disavow the Constitution upon which this government was founded. You just ain't never going to be able to. You just can't. You cannot overthrow the government of America without first getting them to tear up the Constitution. That's why I told you these, President Obama, he saw the danger that the Republic was in. So he just hinted to that danger in his last address at that, not so much as formal address, but at the last what they call it, it's correspondence, the correspondence dinner. Listen to what the president dropped in there, and nobody really heard it. And he dropped it in there when he first opened up. I like to just give me a minute.
You can't say it, but you know it's true. Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to be here at my last, and perhaps the last, White House correspondence. You all look great. The end of the Republic has never looked better.
Did you hear that? He said it jokingly, but knowing what Putin and them had been doing before he left office, he put sanctions against Russia. And them sanctions was hurting. Why did Donald Trump remove them or not enforce them? If the president had spoke up about the crooks that were in Congress and the crooks that were supporting the candidacy of Donald Trump, the American people wouldn't have believed it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught us wisdom dictates. And that's why even though President Obama is a Christian, that's my forefinger, but it's part of my body. There are white people in America that call themselves Christians. But the messenger explained to me in subtle language. He said, there are white Muslims in America. and lots of them. He knew that I would go by the definition of Muslim, not by the word itself, but you learned in elementary school that you can substitute the meaning of a word for the word, and the sentence will still make sense. There are white people who believe in submitting to God in America, and lots of them. That's what Muslim means. It means one who submits to God. So that when the messenger taught us about speaking truth, he said if the truth would upset the peace and cause innocent people to be hurt worse than a lie, he said, remain silent. So President Obama, he took a road in between the two. How important was it for him to send a message that the republic is in danger? It had to be very important for him to open up that correspondence dinner with something that he knew that people would later on have to go back and realize that he was telling them something is wrong here. America is under attack. There are people in the government trying to undermine and overthrow the republic. You know, the black man got a whole history of sounding the alarm. Hadn't it been for a black man, Watergate wouldn't have never came out. I'm told that the first man that died in the Revolutionary War was a black man by the name of Crispus Attucks, fighting for your independence. How many of y'all caught that when the president was talking? You'd have never caught it if I hadn't showed it to you. Let me see here.
You can't say it, but you know it's true. Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to be here at my last, and perhaps the last, White House correspondence day. We all look great. The end of the republic has never looked better.
Do you think he saw something? You could look on his face and tell that it bothered him. Anyway, let's get back to Mr. Wannabe Hitler. He want to be Adolf Hitler so bad he can taste it.
I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. But I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No.
Well, if he could stand and murder somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and wouldn't lose no voters, well, what would make him think he would lose some voters if he started just snatching children away from their mamas and taking girls and doing what? You still don't know what they really done did with those girls. Kind of person who I want all of you to know, I've never been the kind of person who was a coward. Cowards want to beat up on you and don't want you to be able to fight back. Huh? I always thought that was just evil. If you say something about a person, you have to allow them to talk back to you. Unless it's your child or unless it's your follower or someone who is your subordinate. Do you understand? Because in certain cases, just like when I was in the Marine Corps, if the DI got up in your face, the drill instructor, or if your commanding officer got up in your face and chewed you out, if he didn't ask you for to say something, you shut your mouth and took it. And if you said something and he didn't invite you to say something, you might get wrote up for insubordination. Now, in this case, I know people out there, it's people out there have been deceived by Donald Trump. I'm giving them their way out now. I ain't read to you what the book say about Donald Trump. But you yourself just heard him stand up there. Let me let you hear the whole thing without interrupting it.
The people, my people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. No, they say, Trump, we love you too, man. Trump's voters are by far, you know, I'm at 68, 69%. I'm at 90% total. Like, when you say absolutely, I think it's 68 or 69%. Will you most likely say, that gets into the 90s. Other guys are like at 10. A guy like Jeb Bush, he has nobody, but he's like at not, I mean, like they don't have people. They have nothing. Rubio, soft. They're all soft. All soft. My people stay. By the way, Cruz, soft.
His people. You know, that's a fine way to put it, because the Nazis was Hitler's people. And you know, all of them was scared of Hitler. Yeah, They were scared to be heard disagreeing with anything Hitler said, because they know they might wake up dead. The Holy Quran says it is only the devil who frightens his friends. And, you know, to show you, everybody that was following him was a coward. Because why would you follow him if you don't agree with him? I was scared he was going to get me. So you go and commit murder? You would go and commit all types of atrocities because you were afraid of an insane man? You're not a man yourself. You can always tell people who are cowards. They join gangs. You see? Man, I ain't no groupie. I don't, you know, I don't have respect for groupies. Because their excuse for doing things is that everybody else was doing it. Which is no excuse at all. The scripture says in Romans, the 1st chapter, it says, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. How do you know that that applies to Donald Trump? He could care less about God. He called people who have a conscience about how they talk and how they allow themselves to be perceived in the eyes of others. He called them soft. What would he have called Jesus? Moses? What would he have called any messenger of God? Weak, huh? He said, how you know he didn't retain? He stood up there and talked about he was a religious person. What did he say he was? A Protestant? He's a Protestant. Lying. That man ain't no religious man. You know what gave him away? His speech. 2 Corinthians. You don't know nobody go to church. If you ever was in church in Sunday school and whatnot, you ain't never referred to Corinthians as no 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians. Isn't that right? So he lied about that. And if you didn't get him on the way he talks about scripture, you could get him on his deeds and his actions. No man who would sign an order to do the things that the people down there on the border was doing could claim that he believes in God. Look what it says. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a what kind of mind? Reprobate mind. Now, that is a word that most of you probably have never looked up. But now, since they've been talking about it, they've been using the meaning of the word for the word. So now, let's get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. A morally unprincipled person. That's the first definition of it. Reprobate. A morally unprincipled person. One who is predestined to damnation. What happened to Adolf Hitler? At the end of it, what happened to him, according to the history? He died a coward, didn't he? Killing himself. Huh? So Donald Trump following in his footsteps, ain't he? Well, if he going down the same road that Hitler went down, and these people that's following him going down the same road that the people who followed Adolf Hitler went down, all of them have been given over to a reprobate mind, predestined to damnation. Huh? I'm waiting on you to tell me that I'm teaching wrong. How many of y'all think I'm teaching this because I got something personal against Donald Trump? How many of y'all think that? You foolishly think that Donald Trump cares something about white people. Donald Trump don't care nothing about nobody, no more than Hitler cared about any white people or any other people that disagreed with him. Who was Hitler killing over there in Europe? Wasn't them white folks? When that boy ran his vehicle in there and killed that white girl in Charlottesville, did Donald Trump condemn him? Or did he try to make it look like both sides was wrong? Huh? Which means he didn't care that boy. He didn't call that boy a terrorist and that he should be punished. He didn't want no swift justice on that, did he? Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. The next definition of reprobate is morally unprincipled, shameless. Do that fit anybody you know? It fits Donald Trump and all of that family members of his, and all of those people who down there carrying out his agenda. Shameless. And when you can't shame a person, you're dealing with a swine. You ain't dealing with you're dealing with someone that the scripture compares to swine. Who did the devil say when Jesus was casting the devils out? He said, what did the devil beg him to do? They saw a herd of swine over there feeding and said, let's go into the swine over there. And then the swine ran into the ocean and drowned, didn't it? Yeah. What kind of people can you convince to take defenseless men, women, and babies, march them into a building where they think they finna take a shower or whatnot, and then burn them up? What kind of people would do that to other human beings? reprobate, shameless, unprincipled. You know why hell is called a bottomless pit? When you look at the you notice, let me help you here. When you look at prunes, you ever bought some prunes? When they done took the seed out of the middle of them, what do they call them? Pitted prunes, right? Meaning they done took the pit out of the middle of them up. You know, ain't your brain a pit in the side of your skull? Well, isn't it? A person that has no principles that they live by, a person that has nothing that is too vile or low for them to do, that they can just do things that would make other people cringe, and they can do it without shame and do it right out there in front of everybody. They have a bottomless pit up there. Well, where do you draw the line? I don't. I just follow instruction. President Trump said that this is what he wants done, and it ain't my fault. I'm just following orders. You know, that's what them people in the Nuremberg hearings tried to claim. They were just soldiers following orders, and the intelligent people who put them on trial told them, "No, sir, you was not a soldier following orders. Those wasn't soldiers you marched in there and murdered. Those were civilians." Beg your pardon? May wa alaikum ala salam.
I just wanted to let you know that I saw on the news about 5 or 6 o'clock news today that Donald Trump had signed a
yeah, I know he signed an order to supposedly stop that from happening, but Donald Trump only did that because the people now turned against him.
Right.
And Donald Trump is not Donald Trump. If he had any remorse about what he was doing as a human being, as a grandfather, as a father, if he had any human feelings in him in the first place, he'd have never allowed that to happen in the first place. So I don't care nothing about, you know, about him talking about an executive order that he signed or whatnot. That just made a lie out of what he'd been saying. He said Congress could change it or whatnot. He the one set that in motion. That he's the president of the United States. He didn't have to never let that happen. He made that happen. These people ain't yet woke up to what Donald Trump is doing. He ain't just thinking up this stuff on his own. He got help. And it's all designed to make one of the greatest nations that ever came into being. It's designed to defame and to humiliate America. That's what his main purpose is, to alienate America from the rest of the world. To, as good as say, you see all them high sounding words America been putting out there. They didn't mean it. Look at this. He's doing kind of like what they say Ham did with Noah. He saw Noah drunk, and then showed his nakedness to his brothers and laughed at him. But his brothers, they backed up and didn't even look on their father's nakedness and covered him. Do you understand? You see, the people of the world, they know the history that America has a history where they went through a period of shamelessness, a period that make even the most greatest advocates for America, it make them to cringe and to acknowledge that America has a jaded past of injustice and a constant reminder of it in the ex-slaves that's still here that were never truly given true freedom. But as you go forward in time from that period, America may not be what it should be. It may not even be living up to its own what you call ideals. But it's moving towards them. It was moving toward them. And so a conspiracy to use America's open door policy, to use America's melting pot theology against America. To try, what better way to try to turn America against that which made America the envy of the world than to come in and immigrate to America as Donald Trump's father did, as Donald Trump's wife did, immigrate to America, as so many of those in Congress with all these last names that show where they really from and whatnot, they immigrated to America and America welcomed them. And they joined a secret society, waiting on the time to implement the plan, which was to take America's government, consolidate the powers, the Congress and the presidency are now one. And each one blame the other for what's happening. You know, as the president said, Congress need to change that. Congress said, president can change that. Is that right? And the American people not realizing that these people are trying to, since they can't match the bar that America set, they don't have free elections in their countries. They don't have freedom of press in their country. And as long as America has that, in the minds of the people of all of these other countries that don't have that, America is better than that. So they want to get to America. So what they have to do, they have to get in position and then take America and lower the bar and make it look as though immigration laws are a suicide to any government that allows people to come in and all of that kind of thing. and they turn you against what has worked for America for the past 200 years. And so they have taken America's government because they put people in strategic places in the government. The lawmaking body of America is the Congress. Had people in there introducing bills that, first of all, the money that they put behind them to get them elected and the money that they paid them under the table made them bought and paid for. Then they began changing laws and cutting off funding to the educational system of America. Because if you want to fool people, the first thing you got to do, if you want to deceive people, you must make them stupid. You can't educate people and mislead them too. You must first miseducate them. Then, when their minds are dark, then you can light a candle and it will look bright to them. You understand? So they've been working on this for a long time. So I'm telling you that that's what they have been trying to do. That's why you can be now given propaganda from mass media outlets like Fox and call it news. It's not news, it's propaganda. News, and it's just about all over on all of the channels, but especially Fox. They don't report news. They give you 24/7 propaganda, telling you what to think, how to feel about this person, that person, or whatnot, turning you against your own Justice Department. The patriotic men and women of the Justice Department that have been watching your back while you sleep, they up 24/7, making sure that you stay safe. And you let a bunch of strangers. What do you know about them people on Fox News? What? Where they come from? What do you know about any of these people that get out in front of you giving you news? You do know something about Mr. Robert Mueller and a lot of them FBI agents. They made a career. They've been in that system for years. Most of them retire from that. Because that's what you need when it comes to, and all of them have security clearances. That they've been checked and rechecked to make sure that their only agenda is a safe America. And here you let somebody who's a circus clown get out and turn you against people who would give their life for this country. The only way they could convince you to do that is to first make you a dummy. And believe me, I know about being a dummy. Any black man in America, if he be truthful, know we ain't been nothing but dummies. That's how they was able to hold us in slavery for 400 years. Because we were dumb.
You got a couple of comments from Brother Reginald.
Yes.
Brother Reginald says, I listen to you, but do I really hear you? For to listen is to lean, and to lean is to fall out of the 90-degree plane upright on your square.
No, that's not what listen means. That's only listing when you, a ship lists when it leans one way or the other. That's not, you are misunderstanding language, brother. You know, when we use that term, listen, when you're talking about a conversation, then if the truth is being disseminated to you, the truth does not pull you out of what you call to an angle, out of sync with straight up and down. The truth pulls you from untruth to straight up and down with truth. The truth is a straight edge. And the truth is always perpendicular to the plane, because the truth is life, and everything that's alive is generally perpendicular to the plane of the earth. So to listen to the truth is to be pulled from death to life. Is to lean upward to life. So, you know, don't try to teach, brother. Just pay attention and you'll learn something. That's what's wrong now. Y'all been following a talker. You've been following people who don't do nothing but run their mouth. Let me show you something. I want to, you know, while you all think that only thing leading is doing is standing up talking to people, I know better. If all you doing is talking, you're not leading. You are actually wasting time. You are like a person who's sitting up with in a vehicle that's stranded or stuck in mud, and they sitting there gunning the motor as if that's going to get them out, when all that spinning is doing is getting them deeper down in it. And that's what talking without works are. I'm not just talking. I want to show you something. Let's see here. Why did I change this thing? It's done changed from studio. What is it now? Got my channel here. What is that? Let's see here. You all give me a minute here. These people always messing with something. You ought to leave well enough alone. That's what's wrong with you now. You don't know when to leave well enough alone. Brother Michael, how do you get into the studio? What you mean the ball?
Up the right hand corner.
Well, it's not going to my videos and whatnot. Going to New Nation of Islam. I don't know what he done. You all pardon us a moment. Get that blue off of there. Okay. You all pardon me a minute. But, you know, people that don't do nothing but run their mouth, you'll always find you switching the account.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we'll put it. When you get in the habit of thinking that leading is just talking, that's why everybody think they can do it. Leading is not just talking. I don't know who even changed it. Why change it?
That's Brother Jamar. Come here. Double.
Changing stuff around for no reason. Starting to get on my nerves.
The new address in your website. YouTube website.
That's it right there.
At Gmail. You put it at Gmail.
Brothers and sisters, these fellas always fumbling around on these computers and stuff and doing something. Then I get ready to use the computer. Somebody went in there and changed stuff. You know, just, you know, and it's, you know, I still got the same phone number I always had since I moved to Mississippi 30-something years ago. What's the problem? You know, you got some people, every time you look up, got a new phone number and whatnot. You know what that says about you? It means you're undependable. You know, just, you know, you know, anybody that wants to find me, if you had my number once, you still got it. Just anyway, I want to show you these things. Creator Studio. That's it. Okay, thank you. All right. We want to go here and we supposed to have a video up here to show you, and I don't see it on here. The brother told me that it was here, and I don't see it. Let's see here. Give me a moment. I told you that just because I don't show you these things, don't mean that we stop working. But right now, I don't see the video up here. And Brother Jamar, I know you listening. You unmute your phone and tell me what's happening here, brother. I don't see the video.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's up there for me.
Well, it's not up here on mine.
They changed the interface to update whatever they have going on, but it's there.
You say what? Under what?
I don't know, sir.
No, I'm talking to Jamar. He's the one that's supposed to have been putting it on there.
I can't control you. You doing an update. That's on there.
YouTube ain't the one to update the Creator Studio.
I'm talking YouTube did that. That's on our end. Video was up there under my video.
Yeah, I see. So they want to play them games, huh? Okay. Right on. Okay. Well, may Allah deal with them like they deal with us. Okay. Well, the video is not here. And if y'all put it up there earlier today, it should have been on there. But anyway, I want all of you to know that we have what did you put it under? What's the name of it? What's the name of it? I can't make out what you're saying.
It should be SB2 parking lot concrete pour.
Parking lot concrete pour.
I believe that's it.
All right. Yeah, they got a hit back here. And I don't think that's it, though. No, this is some old stuff.
Excuse me, sir, man. If you're able to pick up the TV station, we can play it over here and you can stream it on YouTube.
Okay, that's www. TV33 WHPR. Give me that site. What is it, brother? Brother Derek.
Yes, sir, that's it.
That's TV33 WHPR.com.
Now I said we're having trouble. Who are these people? Well, I can't seem to get yours.
Always pick it up quicker in Google Chrome if you have that on your laptop.
Okay, just a moment. Let me see what happens here. You see on Google Chrome,
Yes, sir. And you'll see where we have it paused up on the screen right now.
Well, just a moment. Let me close this out. Think I got Chrome on there. Let's see. But I like people to know that we are not now. Let's see what it come up with here. That we're not right now. It's just booting. Screen black with the little round deal going round and round and round. So, you know, people don't like to see what we do. Okay, I see it now. Okay, you can turn yours on and let's see what it do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can start it back.
Yes, sir. Computer, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You got a little bit of a delay, but you'll see it in just a few seconds.
All right. That's more than a little bit delay. I don't see nothing yet.
There we go.
It's done stop. Brother Derek, what's happening?
Yes, sir.
It ain't playing.
No, sir. It's playing on the streaming still on this end.
Well, it's not streaming here.
All right.
Start it over.
Might need to refresh your page, but I'll
Start it.
Yeah, it's still playing.
Start it over.
Okay. All right, I'm starting it over, so you'll see it starting over in about 30 seconds to a minute with your delay.
All right. It done froze up again. It keeps freezing up. Well, we'll show it another time. All right, eventually it's gonna have to free up on mine. That's all right. You can stop it.
Yes, sir.
We'll show it another time. But I just wanted the people to see that we not just talking. We doing what we talking about. And when you get to the point where all you doing is talking is not leading. That's just like when you was in class and they sit down in the man. I remember in woodshop he would be up there teaching us how to do board feet and all that kind of thing. Well, that's theory. Then you had to get up and get out there and go to work and put theory into practical application. And if you don't know how to practically apply what you claim to know, you don't know nothing. You like a bird running around that does it probably want a cracker? And somebody done taught that bird how to say that. And the bird wouldn't know a cracker from a piece of bread. How you know that? You give him a piece of bread, he don't say, this ain't no cracker. He just quoting. He just heard a sound and he mimicked that sound you made. Let me let you hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me a lot of things that it's time for everybody to know.
That this man is the man we've been looking for to join us together again. Their sanctity comes to me sometime almost weekly because they recognize what I mean. This is the day of uniting. Africa is uniting with us because as the Holy One teaches, They heard a call, calling to the right way. Therefore, we are here among you today, Christians, saints walking around with the mouth shut, waiting for a certain time to open. So, the time given to this white man is up, and he goes tonight.
And Allah is getting ready to rid the earth of everybody who hate him. And, you know, you got people who sit around. The book says the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. You see? So you put a complaint into YouTube that you have people coming in crashing and disrupting our broadcast. When I don't see them on there disrupting all of them broadcasts where people are doing stuff they ain't got no business. On there chopping people's heads off and all that stuff, you ain't disrupting that. You low down devil. You're gonna wish that the distance between you and the evil that you did to me and against me, that even the evil thoughts that you had against me, you're gonna wish with all that was in you that you had never had that kind of evil thought against me. You're gonna be paid for it. So I promise you, you're gonna get it all back. And it starts tonight.
Original X has a couple of more comments.
Yes, what is?
He said that he was just asking questions. That's all.
No, Brother Reginald, I wasn't talking about you, man. No, that ain't had nothing to do with you. If I understand this, whenever I'm fussing, if you saying something to me and I don't direct my word to you, I don't play them kind of games that how people talk at you and won't talk to you. If I had a problem with something you said to me or did to me, brother, I'd have told you. You have not offended me. You have not, ain't nothing you said that you didn't have a right to question or have a right to put out there. I mean, if I, no, I'm talking to them people who playing games on the internet, causing our signal to drop. I'm the one I'm talking to. And they gonna be paid, man. So in other words, we ain't suffered enough. 460 years ain't enough for them. They need to stick it to us some more. Yeah. Okay. You know what happens when you it's just like in the boxing arena. It's okay to keep throwing jabs while the man is timing. But if you throw a punch after the bell, you get in trouble. When that bell rang, time to stop punching. This the Sabbath day. You was told to stop your evil when I got here. So you want to keep on? Okay, keep on. Who's that got the phone unmuted? You got something you want to ask me? See, I ain't like y'all. When I hear somebody saying something while I'm talking, I stop and see what it is they're talking about. That's how I know you hear me when I say, just a minute, just a moment, just a moment, and you keep talking. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night. And if it pleases Allah, Friday we'll show you some more progress at the beauty salon that we had to turn into a beauty salon because we couldn't find nobody who would give us or sell us tires at a reasonable price where we could make money off of it. I wasn't gonna have the brothers over there just holding money for you, white people. You fix it where other people come here and can make money off of selling tires and whatnot. But they don't want you and me to be able to do nothing for ourselves. And all of you who think like that, I'm going to pay you back by fixing it where your mind won't be able to think how to do for yourself. Fix you. It's being done now. It's being worked on while I'm talking. Do you see how bad Donald Trump been looking lately? Watch all of them around him. You'll see. The chastisement is on you. And you deserve it. And the only way to get it off of you is for me to forgive you. And I will not forgive you until you correct yourself. And soon it's going to be too late for that. Now remember, you know what in theology, it teaches you some things. Now you done found out what reprobate means. Yes. All right. Let me show you. I'm going to get over here now to another word, and that is respite. Because, respite, but I'm going to put grace down here. Grace. And if we can get a few extra minutes here, I will let everybody hear this. Grace. It says seemingly effortless beauty or charm of movement, form, or proportion. A characteristic or quality pleasing for its charm or refinement. A sense of fitness or propriety. A disposition to be generous or helpful. Goodwill, mercy, clemency. All that. When you show mercy to people and give clemency to people, pardon, in other words, that's grace. A favor rendered by one who need not do so. Indulgence. A temporary immunity or exemption. A reprieve. A temporary immunity. Remember what the wages of sin is. So when the man of sin was given authority and was sinning and allowed to live, he was given what? Grace and immunity, a respite. Let's go. Let's keep going, because it says temporary immunity or exemption, a reprieve. Divine favor bestowed freely on people, as in granting redemption from sin. The state of having received such favor, an excellence or power granted by God. A short prayer of blessing or thanksgivings said before or after a meal. You know how people say grace? Yeah. Let's keep going. It says elegance, beauty. We done read all of that. It keeps going back over. The free and unmerited favor of God shown towards man. The divine assistance and power given to man in spiritual rebirth and sanctification. The condition of being favored or sanctified by God. Remember, it says, sanctify them through thy truth. Okay. Then it says, favor granted by God. A short prayer recited before or after a meal. Let's keep going. It says, it finally gets down to the, as they say, the nitty gritty. It says, elegance or beauty of form, attractiveness, ease, a pleasing or attractive quality, favor or goodwill, a manifestation of favor, especially by a superior. Mercy, clemency, pardon. Favor shown in granting a delay or temporary immunity. Temporary immunity. Now let's look up respite. Respite. Well, that's what the Holy Quran says, that the jinn, the devil, Iblis was granted respite. A usually short period of rest or relief, temporary suspension of the execution of a sentence. Respite. It says, to grant a respite to someone. A pause from exertion, an interval of rest, a temporary stay of execution, reprieve. A delay or cessation for a time, especially of anything distressing or trying, an interval of relief, temporary suspension of a death sentence, as in the wages of sin. Then it says to postpone. Then when you get down here to the words that mean basically the same thing, it says respite, abatement, reprieve, suspension, a break, interruption, rest period, rest, relief, pause, suspension, intermission, interruption, break, mercy, clemency, merciful. A pause, break, rest, relief, halt, interval, relaxation, recess, interruption, full cessation, breathing space, a stay, a delay, suspension. And eventually it gets to grace. Grace and respite is the same thing. So I'm telling you, by the grace of your Lord, you are not yet insane. When you look for something, you don't look with your eyes. It's actually your mind doing the looking. When you seeking something, your mind is seeking that. Remember, it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. When you lose your mind, you won't ever be able to find me. Okay, I'm through. May Allah bless us, keep us safe, and in our right minds. May Allah's salam alaikum.